Welcome to the Saudi Football Fanatics. This is the third episode, and this is probably the last episode of our season recap. And we will talk about the relegation end result and battle today. Our team is unchanged, and the full team is here for this review. Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Roshan.
Roshan. Saudi League.
How to start it? We are disappointed, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's start
yes.
with that point.
With our disappointment, yes.
Yeah.
I
teams.
don't even want to hear it. I don't even want you to mention this one.
Yeah, but I obviously have to, start somehow. That every season has a sad part when three teams depart for the Yellow League, and we already had to say goodbye to Al-Hazm a long time ago, and now four teams were in the race to avoid to be the next two to relegate. It was Al-Okhdood, Al-Riyadh, Abha, and Al-Tai, and we concluded that based on the status of the league at that time, Abha has the biggest chance to survive because they were playing with the already relegated Al-Hazm, although on away ground, but they had their fate in their own hands, and we saw what happened.
All what they need was 3 points against Al-Hazm on away ground. On the one hand, yes, Al-Hazm is already relegated. Obviously with not a good season. But Abha could not win a single game during away matches this season, which is an absolutely bad record for them. And therefore, these two facts are opposing each other, and obviously we are now very sad because Abha decided not to win against Al-Hazm, but they lost on away ground. So they only got 2 points in 17 away matches without a single win, and that is the main driver of now the relegation to the Yellow League. And yeah, we supported them. If you followed our channel, they were the channel's secret favorite. But now they have to let them go and be free in the Yellow League.
Yeah, and also beyond their let's say poor, but it's much worse than that, away performance. The other indicator was maybe their defense, which was the worst one in the league, much worse than Al-Hazm's, to be honest. He conceded 11th more than Al-Hazm, so to be honest, and it's not just about Abha, but all the three relegated teams, that it was unavoidable that these three teams will go to the Yellow League. These three were the weakest ones regarding their defense, because these three had the worst defense in the league, and also their performance against their rivals, in the low table rivals, they were also one of the worst in them. So yeah, we are sad, but it was a correct outcome of the league.
Absolutely incredible that as we were checking how they can survive, probably were having a worse match record against their rivals. So the question comes, if they barely collected any points against their relegation rivals and on away ground, how the hell did they collect so many points? Because that's something that doesn't come together for me.
You know how? They became fifth in the league if you take into account only the home games. Fifth. They were the fifth best teams. Fifth best team on home ground. I've never seen something like that. I've never seen.
It's absolutely unique. And yeah, we could see that Abha already was, but always was a relegation threatened team since they returned to the Saudi Pro League. So it's not a big surprise, but I'm sad to see it's a regional team for local guys, and it's sad to see a team like this to relegate. Really, they should have just done a little bit more, and they couldn't. As I said.
Do you believe it that they got one more points than Al-Ittihad on the home ground matches?
But,
I believe it because
I believe
think
it.
that you just checked it, so it may be true about that.
Well, considering how bad Al-Ittihad could be at some parts of the season, yeah, believable, but quite unbelievable on the other end.
But
And,
Abha
yeah.
won more matches than not on home ground. Has more than 50% of win ratio on home ground.
Well, we wish them good luck and hope to see them soon.
And sorry, guys, just one more question from my side. What do you think? What will happen with the players of Abha and mainly with Krychowiak? Because there were rumors that he will join Barcelona. I'm not sure about that. But can he
I would
join?
not go there.
Yeah, me neither. So can he join a better Saudi team? Maybe. So can he stay in the RSL and sign for a mid-table or even for a high-end table team? Because I think, just to answer my question, that a solid midfielder is also a great asset even for PIF teams. So I think I could find a place for him also in a PIF team, for example, in Al-Ittihad or also in Al-Ahly. Or if you just check the midfield of Al Nassr, it's not the best, let's say it this way. So maybe Krychowiak also would have a place there as well.
Yeah, you successfully answered your question.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no,
we can move forward.
no comments from my side either. Let's.
I totally agree. So Krychowiak has the quality to stay in the RSL. It's a question whether he will stay with us.
On the last match, he probably didn't sell himself very well with that missed penalty in the extra time. But
yeah, I'm sure about that. That Ronaldo won't give the ball to him in the next season if he join Al Nassr.
I'm not so sure about it, but it won't be a good idea. Yeah. But let's talk about the other teams. So I think we can conclude that in the end, Al-Riyadh and Al-Okhdood deserved to stay in the league, especially after they became under intense pressure that they need to deliver to stay in the league. I think both of the teams did, and Al-Okhdood especially, they were, in my opinion, quite unlucky in the last few matches that they lost points in the extra time or so in many matches. Maybe you remember the match against Al Nassr when they were sort of well with Al Nassr, but I think they lost in the end in the stoppage time. So they were in a very, very bad situation because they had to win the last match and depended on Abha or Al-Riyadh losing points. Well, obviously Abha helped them, as we already spoiled. But they delivered. They have convincingly beaten Altai and stayed in the league. I think they deserved it.
Totally agree. So Al-Okhdood deserved it. They had a very nice finish. Their whole position and their status in the relegation zone, or why they were falling into the relegation zone, was quite sure that it was driven by their very, very bad streak, which they performed from the 23rd of February until almost the end of April. In this streak, they did not win a single match and almost lose them all. They only has one draw, and all of them were loses. So they lost 7 times and 1 draw. That was the reason why they fell into this situation at the first hand. But then they just pulled themselves together, and in the last matches only lost against Al Nassr. And you already mentioned that was also a match where they could have secured a point if they do not concede in the last minutes. So with a team which can pull himself together this match, yeah, that was the first one, was the correct this match, then you cannot deny that they deserve another season in the RSL. So congratulate to Al-Okhdood for this wonderful finish and their clutch victory against Altai in the last round.
Yeah, congratulate for them, and don't forget to mention the other team who was quite consistent in the
We
last weeks.
already mentioned them. Yeah. So,
Yeah, but in more detail. So I think about Al-Riyadh, which team was unbeaten in their last 6 matches.
Yes.
Hopefully I'm correct. Okay, mainly with draws, but it doesn't matter for me. And also, don't forget to mention their best player, maybe, or at least for us, he's the best. And also, not just in Riyadh, but in the league, Al-Abbas, who was in a quite very well form in the last weeks,
Yes.
and yeah, he's one of the biggest fans of our podcast as well. So.
Yes, he's also a fan, and we are also a fan. So it's kind of a
win-win
common
situation.
relationship. Yeah, and because Al-Abbas is an extraordinary player, and not to forget to mention that he has one of the best records for goal scoring under 90 minutes in the league. So compared to the playing times that he spent on the field, he has one of the most goals, obviously, after the likes of Ronaldo and Mitrovic. He's in the top.
Yeah, an
top 5 or 6 players.
effective
Yeah.
striker.
Wonderful player.
Just to add to that, you probably don't remember, but when we reviewed the transfer windows, I mentioned his name because even early in the season, it caught an eye that he wasn't a prolific goal scorer in the last few seasons, and it seems to me that this one was his breakthrough season. And he performed quite well. And obviously, Al-Riyadh needed his goals. So congratulations to both Salman Abbas and Al-Riyadh to stay in the league. It's also a very nice story, in my opinion, that Al-Riyadh were only able to qualify to the league because of the extension in the number of teams in the league. But we can conclude that they deserved their chance, and they took the chance and stayed in the league. And also, we can add to that they were quite unlucky that they had to wait until the last round to ensure their status in the Saudi Pro League, because maybe it was a bit harsh for them to get a late Lavella against Al Nassr, who were down to 10 men in the previous round.
Yeah, they had all the chance with Laporte was sent off, and they were leading to 2-1, but in the last minute of the stoppage time, they conceded. I also just want to quickly reflect to what Mark mentioned to the last 6 games are unbeaten, and it's totally correct. But also looking at, they had one of the most difficult schedule. If you look at the matches, during these 6 matches, they've beaten Al Ahly, drawn against Al Tawun and Al Nassr, and in the last round they won on away ground against Al Khalij. And these are, what to say. So and all of these were very much needed for them.
Yeah, and under pressure. So
yes,
nice finish.
And if you mentioned Al Khalij, then just 2 more thoughts. Sorry for those teams we praised so much. For example, for Khalij and Al Wehda, because in the last rounds they were one of the worst performers of the league, even worse than Al Hazem or Altai, if you just check their stats. So I'm sorry for that. Maybe they will have a nicer year next year.
That's our spell. That's our spell. The curse of our podcast channel.
Yeah. Well, I feel for Al Khalij. Just let me mention it, because if you check, they had to play against relegation-threatened teams who were going out against them with full force. They had to play against Abha in the previous round before the last one. So not an ideal finish for the season, in my opinion. And they didn't even collect a point from these last 2 matches. So
yeah. And maybe one more point we didn't mention: the best teams of the Yellow League. And this is with a reason, because we are planning to have a separate episode regarding the newcomers in the coming weeks. So follow us if you want to hear about the best stories of the Yellow League as well.
Yeah, but don't rush forward too much, because I have one more question for you. That's we had a proper goodbye to Abha. I think the last 2 teams also deserve some more doubts. On Al Hazem, we knew that they were relegated long ago, but I think we can say that they improved in the last matches after that. They did a proper goodbye to themselves with beating Abha in the last round. But let's talk about Altai a little bit, because I think it's a little bit of a surprise to me that they ended up so terribly. Because if you check their last 2 seasons, they were a solid mid-table team, or even a little bit better. How could this happen?
No one knows.
No one knows. No one knows. I also couldn't imagine this, to be honest. But honestly, at the end of the season, I can say that this is a deserved result. They were playing very badly in many cases. But based on their previous years and their quality of the squad, this is not something that could have easily expected.
Yeah.
Just a short sentence regarding their performance. I think it was just as grey as their badge.
That's cruel.
Well, I think I just want a last thought about this one, and then we can conclude this sad episode, saying goodbye to teams. So just let me mention one bright spot, and it was Bernard Mensah in Altai.
Oh yeah.
So probably it's a little bit harsh for him to relegate to the Yellow League. So I think we will still see him in the next season in the Saudi Pro League, but obviously not with this grey badge.
Hands down, one of the best players was in the league, at least in the top 10 or 20. He was in, I believe. He was
14 goals scored. Yeah,
class performance during, and I also feel sorry for him because of this. This was not deserved.
Yeah, this is a difficult episode to say goodbye to teams, but we wish good luck to Abha, Altai, and Al-Hazem, and hope to see them soon back in the Saudi Pro League. We look forward to the next season, and we will also, as Mark mentioned, cover the newcomers of the league in a separate episode. But this was the last episode of our season recap. Thank you for joining us. We have a lot of ideas, and we will be active during the summer. There are a lot of topics to cover, and the next season will be even more interesting than this one was, and we are quite sure about it. So please follow us, stay with us, and we will see you soon. Cheers.